How's it going, everyone? Laughing here, and today we got some news about a potential imminent announcement for a new Switch model, whether it's called the Switch Pro, the Super Nintendo Switch, what have you. We're hearing a lot of rumors about that, so we're going to talk about that today. When potentially we'll get an announcement, what the console looks like, and when we can even potentially get this in our hands. I'll be covering all of that in this video, but before I get started, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm a much smaller channel, so it really goes a long way to helping the channel grow, and I would much appreciate it. All right, to start us off, we actually have Bloomberg.com, and actually broke this story late Wednesday night, and they said Nintendo company plans to begin assembly of its new Switch as soon as July and release the upgraded replacement for its 4-year-old game console in September or October, people familiar with the matter said. The new console likely to be priced higher than the $299 original, which makes sense. Things have actually gotten more expensive. Things are harder to come by, what have you. And Nintendo also doesn't like selling things at a loss. So sadly, kind of makes sense for me there. It may be announced ahead of the E3 conference starting June 12th to allow publishers to showcase their full range of Switch games at the global event. The people said, asking not to be named because the plans are not yet public. It will be sold alongside the $200 Switch Lite with the standard Switch phased out over time. And that really actually makes sense because NVIDIA, I believe, has kind of stopped production on the graphics chip that's actually in the current Switch console. So it kind of makes sense whether or not Nintendo really actually wanted to do a mid kind of grade or mid lifespan upgrade. It kind of sounds like they may have actually been kind of pushed to do that by NVIDIA. But yeah, that's just kind of what I've heard so far with that. But they also say assemblers will start shipping the new model, whose commercial name is known only to a handful of people within the Kyoto-based company, as early as July. And production is planned to ramp up to a peak in October and December quarter. This is despite widespread semiconductor shortages that have affected supply of everything from automobiles, TVs, headphones, game consoles, and the Switch itself. And to kind of back up Bloomberg's reporting, Eurogamer.net also has an article saying Nintendo's long-awaited Switch upgrade is expected to be shown ahead of E3 2021, according to a report published by Bloomberg today and Eurogamer's own sources. Now we have two kind of news outlets coming out saying that their own sources have confirmed this, which is kind of cool to see, and kind of once again kind of backs up that more than likely we are going to be getting that announcement sooner rather than later. In terms of when we can expect an announcement, Jason Schreier actually replied to someone's tweet saying that, oh, it will be possibly even tonight. So that was earlier in the day. He also deleted that at this point now as well. And on Reset Era, he actually kind of clarified a little bit more, saying, I don't know for sure it's tonight. If I was reporting something that I knew to be true, I wouldn't say possibly. All I know for a fact is that it's happening and getting announced soon. And actually, Emily Rogers, kind of another video games industry insider, said that, yes, Bloomberg's report is accurate. New screen, upgraded chips, aiming for September to October release. An announcement is imminent. We might be getting news sooner than we thought. Trying to kind of narrow down when we can expect an announcement for this, we actually have something from Direct Feed Games here. They say if an announcement is to take place this week, it'll likely be tomorrow being today, Thursday, because Nintendo of America is closed on Friday, thus lowering chances for a Friday announcement. It's now pretty late in the day here on Thursday. I don't think we're going to get any sort of announcement today, sadly. But when it comes to tomorrow being Friday, yeah, Nintendo of America is going to be closed. In general, most companies don't like to announce stuff on Friday anyway, because that's usually how you have stories die pretty quickly. It doesn't give them a whole lot of days for news outlets to really get the info out. So really kind of take Friday off the board, kind of regardless of Memorial Day. And then, of course, Memorial Day is going to be Monday on top of it. So Nintendo of America is going to be closed on Monday, more than likely, on top of all of that. And I know Nintendo is a Japanese-based company, and this is going to be a worldwide release. But do kind of keep in mind the U.S. is a big market for them, and both kind of getting the word out there marketing-wise as well as kind of sales. So, and they're definitely going to want to have as many eyes and ears on this as possible. So they're definitely going to choose a day where they're going to be able to get this info out as efficiently and effectively as possible. I think the earliest we're going to get an announcement is actually going to be next week, Tuesday, and the latest being Thursday, with also potential of it coming out on Wednesday. The announcement that is, and I think next week is a really kind of safe bet because it is going to be before E3, so it's going to give publishers and developers a decent amount of time to kind of put everything together when it comes to announcements for these Switch Pro games, which is in general just really exciting. Going back to the Bloomberg article, they kind of talk a little bit about what we can expect in terms of upgrades with the new Switch model. And they say a 7-inch Samsung display, which was kind of hinted at and kind of leaked before, that Samsung actually had a really big deal with Nintendo for OLED displays. So that's kind of cool. And of course, we talked a little bit about earlier that NVIDIA kind of phased out their old chipsets. So of course, faster NVIDIA chips as well, which is what they have, with it being capable of a 4K output when docked to a TV. So that is pretty awesome. And if that's true, I really look forward to seeing that. Even if it's something as simple as seeing like new Pokemon games like in 4K, man, that'd be cool. I actually really dig that. And when it comes to price, of course, with every new model, in my opinion, it's more than likely going to be a little bit more expensive than the last. So they say pricier components and rising labor costs in China are likely to push the new Switch's price up from $299 that the console has been at since its launch. Though the final retail price is not yet known, suppliers expect their per unit revenue from business with Nintendo to increase. So if I had to take a guess, it probably will be like $350. I think they might try to avoid that $400 price point. If you say something's $350, it just seems for whatever reason a lot cheaper than $400. I know it's like a $50 kind of price difference, but you got to remember that like when it comes to prices on stuff, there's a reason why things are $299, $399, not $400. And I think that $350 price point makes sense, but we'll kind of see. I think Nintendo's going to try to kind of differentiate themselves from PlayStation and Xbox, especially when it comes to prices. But we'll kind of see how that shakes out when the console is actually announced. Price aside, though, I think one big question that a lot of people kind of have in the back of their heads is, are we actually going to be able to get our hands on this console? And they also kind of talk about that a little bit in the article as well. They say suppliers are confident they can fulfill Nintendo's orders despite the ongoing chipset shortages. Its production lines are better prepared for the potential component shakeup, and the parts Nintendo is using are subject to less competition than those in its rivals' more powerful consoles, which makes sense. The PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X are way more like each other compared to any sort of Switch Nintendo's going to put out. Very different kind of pieces of hardware, so that part definitely makes a lot of sense to me. But they say still the company's ability to meet consumer demand won't be guaranteed, as a dearth of display driver ICs and Bluetooth chips have led to production of the incumbent Switch stopping and starting several times. Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa said at its earnings press conference earlier this month that demand for the Switch remains high and the company wasn't able to produce as many units as it wanted. For me, when it comes to being able to, get your hands on this console, I remember when the Switch initially came out, the demand was really high for that back then. Even I know it's kind of a new console, but still there wasn't as many, there wasn't any chipset shortages really back then that I remember. We weren't dealing with any sort of like pandemic or anything like that, and still it was really hard to get your hands on. I was really lucky and got mine like a month after launch. I was kind of like sitting on like GameStop's website, just kind of like getting ready to kind of like pounce on it. And I was also like in a GameStop at the time and got really lucky with my timing. I'm like, hey, can I like pre-order one? And they're like, yep, it like just went up. Sure. So I got super lucky with my Switch. So I have a feeling it's going to be more than likely more of the same. I think maybe the good spot for this is if scalpers are more focused on the new Switch, maybe they'll let up on the PS5. We'll kind of see. Maybe that's just me being hopeful, but yeah, I guess we'll kind of see come fall. But I would expect it to be really hard to get your hands on. So if you want one, you might kind of want to jump on pre-orders if you can. I'm not a fan of pre-ordering, but it just as a suggestion potentially. But yeah, like I said, we'll kind of see here in the fall how hard it is. I can pretty much guarantee you it's not going to be easy though. All right, that's all the news I have for you today in terms of the Switch Pro. Once we get an official announcement, I'll be on that real fast. So if you want more Switch Pro news or just kind of gaming news in general, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well while you're down there. And hey, what do you guys think of a potential Switch Pro model? If it's announced, are you going to pick one up? Let me know down in the comments down below. A quick shout out to Mario Meister on r/gaming leaks and rumors for kind of pointing me in the right direction for a lot of this info. Thank you very much. I have a link down below kind of to that Reddit thread. So thank you once again for that. And thank you guys for watching. I seriously appreciate it. Hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Do something good for yourself. And as always, take care.